Sitting in studio with Dr. David Klein, and we're going to start off today by talking about nutraceutical regimens and balance. Not everybody needs the same thing.
Okay, well, it's kind of an interesting sort of a thing. When you look at nutraceutical supplementation, vitamins and minerals, herbals are all called supplements for a reason. The reason is they're supposed to supplement that which you eat and that which is in your diet or what isn't in your diet. And everything has to be taken into consideration when coming up with a nutraceutical plan. That's the same thing as a meal plan, the same thing as a medical plan. But what you have to understand is that waste of one thing doesn't necessarily make up for a deficiency of another. So if you're building a wall, you can use your brick, you can use your mortar, you can use your rebar, you can use lots of different products. But you need to use them in the appropriate amounts, at the appropriate ratios, and at the appropriate times. You know, the difference between just cement and concrete is rebar. If you add rebar to cement, it will last thousands of years. If not, it will crack away into nothing before you know it. When you're looking at your health, really the same thing is true. Okay, if you're deficient in certain things, disease states will follow. You cannot make up for one mineral with another. You cannot make up with one vitamin for another. They don't fit. Very much like fuses in a fuse box. Okay, so people ask, well, how do heavy metals cause? How do they poison you? Okay, and the way they happen to work is by gumming up the spots where your regular minerals are supposed to sit, or gumming up an area where an oxygen molecule is supposed to sit, or gumming up a spot where a protein is supposed to fit. That is the way that these things work. So if something doesn't exactly match what your needs are, it tends to do damage. You can't make up for magnesium with calcium. You can't make up for magnesium with anything else. You need to have that which the body needs. Vitamin E, great example. There's 6 different important vitamin E's. You can't go out and take one, delta tocopherol, and expect it's going to do the same thing that the alpha, beta, and gamma are going to need. It just does not work that way. So we have to look at what you're eating with regards to your health. We need to look at what you're eating with regards to what we need to do to supplement. And what's more, we need to find out what disease states that you have, because you may not absorb what you need, and you may need more of some one thing or another. So when you're looking at buying a product, don't look at the claims made on the label. Frankly, they're not supposed to make any claims. We're mandated to say there are no disease states that can be treated with this particular problem. We all know that's nonsense, but you can't make a claim. That is the law. So when you're looking at a label, don't expect to necessarily get anything more than to be misled. What you're looking for are the ingredients. So what minerals do we need? What vitamins do we need? Lastly, what herbals do we need? What essential carbohydrates, what amino acids, and what fatty acids do we need? As human beings, we need very many of the same parts. We need the same fuels. We need the same lubricants. But we don't all need all of the same parts at the same time. It's unlikely that your brakes are going to wear out in your car at the same time the other 300 million people in this country are going to need it. Things wear out at different rates. So, of the 50 B complex vitamins, which ones are in your one-a-day pill? Of all the mineral deficiencies that are out there, which ones are in that tablet? That's where we need to start with this. So if you're living in certain parts of the country, you're less likely to end up with mineral deficiencies than you are here in Florida or any of the other coastal states. Why? Because of where we're supposed to get our vitamins and minerals in our diet. The groundwater, oddly enough, is where we're supposed to pick our minerals. The food that we eat is fed by the same water. If it's not in the water, it's not going to end up in the vegetables and fruits, and it's not going to end up in your body. So the mineral needs for people that live in Florida, Texas, Mississippi are going to be different than those of Colorado, Arizona, Nevada, and the Great Valley of California. That's just the way that it goes. Where you live makes a big difference with regards to what deficiencies you're going to have, what abundances you're going to have, and how to proceed from there. Now, what you need to know about this, okay, and this is terribly important, is that some of the things that you're going to take look safe. Some of those things that you're going to take are going to look as though they're beneficial to you, but the difference between a vitamin, mineral, and a poison, a nutrient and a poison, is rate, route, and amount. Selenium is necessary to prevent thyroid disease, but if you take too much selenium, you can die. Magnesium is necessary for cardiac function as well as 400 different enzyme reactions. But if you take too much, your heart does odd things and you can die. Calcium, maybe not so dramatic. But zinc, same thing. The nerve damage that happens, you might want to die. So each of these things have to be taken with caution. They need to be taken with your eyes open, your mind open, and with a pencil and pen in hand. Why? Because if you overdo it, it's every bit as dangerous as underdoing it. Now, let's say that you've got an individual who's 60 years of age. 70 years of age is even better. Do you think for a minute that their nutritional needs will be the same as a 10-year-old? Well, you'd be correct if you said, no, they have to be different. But generally speaking, people think that the nutritional needs of the 10-year-old exceed those of the 70-year-old. And the answer is no. It's actually the opposite. The 10-year-old needs less of the vitamins and minerals than you do as an older adult. Now, why is this? And why does this run, counter to everything you've ever been taught? And the answer is very simple. It's your gastrointestinal tract. It's not as effective as it was when you were a kid. That's why the teenage, idiots that are running out there can eat so poorly, yet they're in shape, they're not fat, and they don't develop diabetes at the same rate. Yet there you are. You're watching your diet, you're eating all the quote-unquote right things, which may not be quite so right, and you are getting sicker. You're the one with the high blood pressure. You're the one that has the cholesterol issue, and you're the one that has the blood sugar that's at risk. Why? Because you are not absorbing at the same rate, route, or amount as the youngster. That's just the way it goes. The parts wear out as you get older. So you actually need more. So the recommended daily allowance, that little piece of datum that so many people think is so important, it's the Bible, as it were, that if you're taking 6 times the RDA, you're wasting your time and money, is utter and absolute nonsense. When you're looking at a 10-year-old kid, they will suck the nutrients out of a cinder block, but you, on the other hand, can't. So you have to take more. That's just the way that it goes. Then there are little things like essential carbohydrates that are necessary for cell-to-cell recognition. Small amounts of these things will keep you healthy. Large amounts get burned up as fuel, so they become wasteful. So a lot of people buy jars and tins and buckets of antioxidants and fancy, colorful fruit and vegetable extracts only to burn them as fuel. What you need is an appropriate amount of these antioxidants, an appropriate amount of these essential carbohydrates, and you'll remain healthy. You don't need a ton of these things to get the job done. But what about essential fatty acids and oils? Probably the single most important deficiency in our diet. And the reason is when you don't get enough of the oils, you become constipated. When you become constipated, nothing else really matters. Okay, you can have diabetes, you can have all kinds of blood pressure issues, but if you can't go to the bathroom, you're not going to sleep. You're not going to be a happy camper. It's not a deficiency in a cathartic that's keeping you constipated. Oddly enough, it's a deficiency of oils. We tell people to avoid fats and oils when in fact they ought to be avoiding fats. The oils themselves are very, very important to the gastrointestinal tract. They must be taken in the appropriate balance. After that, the minerals are necessary. Why? Because that's where most of the micronutrient issues lie, and that's typically where I start my patients. So, take-home message is this. Without my sitting down with you individually, looking over what you eat, what your blood work looks like, and basically how you appear to me, because a good doc can look at somebody and know what the hell is going on, you must start in this manner. 1, you need to start with fish oil, a good fish oil. And we're not talking krill oil here. Krill oil is for rich people with too much money that like to waste it. Give it away. Give your money away, but get yourself a good fish oil made from anchovies and sardines. Make sure that it's been distilled enough to pull the heavy metals out and distilled enough to pull the nasty proteins out so that you don't find yourself with, let's say, a gaseous event in an inopportune time. So fish oil is very, very necessary. We have one called Heart and Soul. That's the one I take. I recommend it. You don't need to take it. Minerals, magic minerals, get you what you need for the average adult. If you have diabetes, you need a smidgen more. With regards to carbohydrates, a teaspoon of honey will do the job. And with regards to your amino acids, if you go out there and buy yourself some good whey protein, you've got it made. That is how it's done. Now, what did I miss? The B-complex vitamins. That is the cheapest part of the puzzle. It's the one that you can mess up and still make it out just fine.
All right. If you want more, if you want more information on the doctor and the practice, Stages of Life Vitamins.com is a great program to be on for the nutraceuticals the doctor talked about, especially that heart and soul. But also look up SufferNoMore.com. That's SufferNoMore.com. More coming from the doctor tomorrow.
Not bad.
Good.
This one is